Welcome back, wolves! And Wolves Don't Belong in Yellowstone by Pooja Macajans and Francis Ruffin. Welcome back, wolves! By Pooja Macajans. Yellowstone National Park, with its plentiful food and wide open spaces, is an ideal habitat for wolves. For many years, though, wolves were banned from the park. The U.S. government thought wolves did more harm than good. Fortunately, the government rethought its decision, and the ban was lifted. Returning wolves to Yellowstone was the right decision for several reasons. In the early 1900s, the U.S. government started a program to control predators in Yellowstone National Park. The government believed wolves and other predators destroyed other park wildlife. Farmers and ranchers supported the program. They said wolves threatened their livestock. To control predators, hunters killed them. By 1926, the last Yellowstone wolf pack had been killed. For decades after that, only a few solitary wolves were sighted. In the 1960s, scientists began to focus on protecting nature rather than controlling it. They wanted to bring wolves back to Yellowstone. Many years later, it happened. By late 2014, there were 104 wolves at the park. The scientists have long realized wolves improve biodiversity. Biodiversity is the number of species in an ecosystem or environment. A healthy ecosystem has many different species. When wolves disappeared from Yellowstone, other animals were affected. Elk, wolves' favorite food, multiplied. Elk eat willow trees. Soon, the elk were eating more and more trees. Beavers use willows to make their homes, called dams. Because the elk ate so many trees, beavers didn't have enough wood to build dams. Beavers began to disappear from the park. Then the wolves returned. They began to eat elk. Willows grew back. Beavers returned to the park. As a result, biodiversity improved. Daniel Licht is one of many scientists who believe wolves help Yellowstone. "We have these ecosystems that are in dire need of wolves," said Licht. He thinks wolves should be returned to other habitats too. The pros, the benefits, would far outweigh the negatives, he said. Bringing wolves back to Yellowstone has helped in another way. Wolves bring ecotourists to the park. Ecotourists are people who travel to see nature. Ecotourists come from around the world to see Yellowstone's wolves. A 2006 study found that ecotourists spend millions of dollars in and around the park area each year. Some of that money goes to restaurants and hotels. In other words, wolves help people pay their bills. That's a good thing. The return of wolves has been important for a third reason. It has helped prove that wolves and people can live together in peace. No wolf has attacked a human at Yellowstone, and studies show that only a tiny % of livestock die from wolf attacks. The big bad wolf is a myth. Wolves belong at Yellowstone. Now that they're back, nature is in balance. Tourism is up too. Predators such as wolves always bring some dangers. However, the good they do far outweighs the risks. Welcome back, wolves. Wolves Don't Belong in Yellowstone by Francis Ruffin. Gray wolves are too dangerous to roam in Yellowstone National Park. That's why the government eliminated most wolves from the park in the early 1900s. Removing the wolves was the right decision. However, in the 1960s, scientists began arguing for the wolves' return. Wolves would bring more biodiversity to Yellowstone, they said. Many people loved the idea of having wolves in the park again. To them, wolves are a predator to admire. They're powerful, intelligent animals. The pro-wolf side won. Today, wolves are back in Yellowstone, and they're as dangerous as they ever were. Farmers and ranchers speak most loudly against wolves in Yellowstone. To them, wolves are bad news. Wolves often wander outside their Yellowstone habitat. they end up on nearby lands. Those lands include many farms and ranches. Most farms and ranches have cattle and other livestock. According to many ranchers, wolves create a landscape of fear. Cattle stay on the alert while grazing. They spend less time eating and more time looking around for danger. As a result, they eat less. They fail to gain weight. When ranchers sell their cattle, they get a higher price for fatter cattle. If cattle fail to gain weight, ranchers make less money. Doug Smith is Wolf Project leader at Yellowstone. He wanted wolves back at Yellowstone, but even he says, life is simpler without wolves. I admit that if you are a rancher, having wolves around is worrisome. I understand that it's not just the cows they kill, it's the sleepless nights. I think that's the best argument to not have them. There's another problem too. Wolves increase Yellowstone's grizzly bear population. Grizzlies are scavengers. They eat the prey wolves leave behind. When there are more wolves, grizzlies have more prey to scavenge. Hungry grizzlies often eat from garbage dumps and campsites. This increases the chance they'll come face to face with people. Grizzlies are far more likely to attack people than wolves are. Finally, in spite of all the debate, wolves may not improve Yellowstone's ecosystem. Scientists have said that wolves were needed to reduce the elk herd. When there were no wolves, the elk herd grew. Elk eat tree leaves. Some trees suffered when the elk herd grew. After wolves were reintroduced, the elk herd decreased. The trees started to recover. Some scientists, however, say that the trees were simply suffering from drought. Maybe the wolves didn't help them after all. Wolves are not the answer to Yellowstone's problems. Instead, they bring new problems. Yellowstone National Park would be better off without them.